Hello, everyone. I'm Life with Tashana. Over here, they call me Shauna. How y'all doing tonight? What I wanted to come on tonight and talk about was should kids do sleepovers? It all depends because, you know, sometimes we don't have a two-parent household that one can go to work and then the other one stays home with the kids. Sometimes there's a single parent home. So it's only one person to be able to depend on it. But some people do sleepovers for fun. Um, you know, but there's different reasons that kids do sleepovers. But what I want to talk about is just some of the things that as a parent that you should be mindful of when choosing to do sleepovers. And one of the reasons I say is you should be mindful. Hey Silky Black, how you doing tonight? Um One of the things that you should be mindful of is anytime you live in your household and you have another set of kids that live in their household, each household lives the way that they live. And maybe it's something you've been striving to not introduce your kids to in their home setting, and you allowing someone to sleep over can introduce that very thing that you've been trying to prevent to stay out of your household. So um and it's like because everybody do different things where they live at. Nobody does the same thing in every household, but you must understand that you can be introducing your kids to something that you can live to regret. Um and sometimes those can it works both ways. I wouldn't want to just make it seem like it's a horrible idea for it to happen, but you definitely have to know who you're dealing with when you release your kids to a person. Um and just kids are just curious, point blank, period. So you can't stop them from exploring and everything. Now, if you do sleepovers and things like that, should you allow them to be in the same bed as other children? Um, I would strongly believe in not allowing um kids to sleep in the same bed. Um, I think they should have their own space to sleep in. It's best because, again, like I said, you just never know what's going on in someone else's place. And if a child could be experiencing something that they could not, which then, it teaches each one teach one, no matter what you do. So you have to be very cautious about, who's entering, being around your kids, point blank, period. And we're not just talking about, bad touching and any of that. Not even that. I'm saying things point blank, period. You don't want your kids to learn. You got some kids, and I'm talking about older ones, older kids now, and they get 13, 14 years old, they start doing sleepovers. You get some kids that's say over in their house, they're used to being out and stuff like you do, and your kids are more sheltered. They don't get to do all of those extravagant things. You trying to, slow them down a little bit. But if you introduce them to someone and you don't quite know who they are, maybe that person is have a lot more freedom than what your kid has, and then they introduce them to something, and then you got another problem on your hand trying to trying to prevent other situations. So I mean, I can be all over the place with this one conversation. I know firsthand experience about this. I lived it as a child. I've seen other kids that come and introduce things to my children, and I'm pretty sure my children influence other children. So, you just have to point blank period. They're gonna run into enough things around school and stuff like that. So I guess from my conversation, you can kind of know that I'm I'm kind of against the sleepovers, and not completely against them. It's all about how you do them and who's there, or whatever. Just know your surroundings and all of that good stuff. Um, and just point blank period. Keep your eyes on your kids is all I can say. Hey Shalissa, how you doing, girl? Thank you for being in here, my moderator. Yes, ma'am. Even though we in here chilling. um But yeah, I just wanted to touch on that a little bit because that was on my mind. I'm not against the sleepover. Me and my kids, we do sleepovers at friends' houses and things like that. But I'm also there. Not that I don't trust the person of where I'm going, but um usually we going somewhere and we doing a sleepover. It's the parents are there, so we can monitor each other. Things like that. But just be careful of where you're allowing your kids to hang out, sleep over, any of those things. Not just because anything can be just kids teach each other things. And yes, of course, they go to school and all of that good stuff. They're going to learn from other people. Hi Elizabeth, how you doing tonight? Thanks for joining. Nope, I didn't even let my kids' friends come in my house. Um, I did because back in the day, and this is why I can say I'm against it because I was in our neighborhood was like the one that everybody. I'm like that the babysitter that I'm home. I'm a housewife. My husband going out and he doing his thing, so I'm home and just like I'm the neighborhood babysitter, And so that brought a lot of children to my house. But just not even just physical things that kids teach other. I'm real strong on like everybody walking around with their own little spirits inside of them or whatever. And so whatever this one got going on over here, some people call it energy or whatever it is, whatever you call it. I'm calling it spirits. Everybody walking around with their own little spirits on them or whatever. And so those things move around and they teach each other everything each other know. So I've watched it. There's things I didn't want my kids to know that other kids knew. They came in and they introduced it to them. And it's things that I'm sure other people kids learned from my kids when they were over. But it is a lot of responsibility to have someone's children sleep over to your house. We didn't have a whole lot of sleepovers, but we had like a lot of kids over in the daytime. We would have the occasional sleepovers or whatever, but I mean, it's just so many things. It's just like when we were growing up, it wasn't like we never used the N word in the house. I ain't gonna even pretend like we don't do that because if you see me get mad enough, then you'll hear me slanging it everywhere but loose. But it's not something that we taught our kids to be using around the house or whatever. But shockingly to me, one night we had this set of twins that stayed the night over to our house, and they were not and I be trying not to get into color, but it is what it is. they're not the same, they're not the same complexion as we is. I'll just say that. And they were sitting in the living room having a conversation. They were on the porch. I was in the kitchen cooking. And I heard I allowed the twins to have a sleepover, and my boys was in the fifth grade at this time. Um, I'm in the kitchen cooking, and all of a sudden I hear the N word just flying left and right. And I'm like, what the heck? What is going on in here? I walked around the corner, and these little boys just going in. And I'd met the mother before because our kids went to the same school and everything. But I had never met the father before. And it was just like it was nothing. She was like, "Oh, my husband, my husband talks like that all the time, so that's where the boys get it from." And I'm just like, "Oh my gosh." I was like, "Well, they can't stay the night over my house no more." Not doing that. It just like I wouldn't have thought that, I'll be teaching my boys, like that's something we be trying not to use in our house. And then I'm just like, no, we can't do that. I didn't stop them from try to stop them from being friends or no nothing like that. But it's if that's what they father teaching them, then yeah, I'm not gonna use my kids for no crash dummies to find out. And so we bought that 20. And so hey y'all, and yes, we call them spirits. Okay, then I call them too. Is how you doing, spiritual? I ain't seen you in a minute. We call them spirits over here, and them things be moving. We also remember going to sleepovers at somebody's house, learning and doing stuff. We had no See, that's what I'm talking about right there. I know it ain't nobody in here under the sound of my voice that you don't went and stayed the night. Even as a little kid, you can't help but think back when you was a little kid and you went and had a sleepover at somebody's house. It always was something going on there that dang on well you ain't had no business doing. But those are the things that can happen when the kids don't have the proper supervision and everything. Then you end yourself up into some sort of headache. And thank God I made it through without any of that stuff happening to me. But then again, you just don't even know, because even with me, look how long it took me to come away from it. It just come up off of the things that happened to me. So it's just like you can't even depend on, oh, my kid will tell me everything. It's some things I thought my kids would come and tell me, and they absolutely did not come and tell me. Some of us make statements in front of our kids that we should not make, that will cause the kids to not want to come back and tell you anything. And a lot of us parents think the key to that is to say, if somebody do violate them in a way, what you gonna do to a person if said thing happens. If you say something like that, you setting your kid up not to come and tell you anything, because there's not a kid in this world, especially a parent. I don't know a young kid anyways that don't love their parents. You can be the worst parent and the kid still will love you. Period. I know it for a fact. But there I go, sidetracked again. um but yeah, a kid can hold on to some stuff and not want to tell you. Don't make little insinuations that you're going to do something to anybody if you want your children to be able to come and tell you, because it's a scary thing for a kid to be separated, let alone be put in the lockdown. So just be mindful. If anybody in here still got little ones, I still got little ones. I'm telling you, because when I was growing up, I felt a certain type of way about, I wanted to go and do sleepovers, but even some of the places I went and slept over, things was happening to me there. not necessarily by other children or whatever. And yes, that was true sometimes, but it was more so the adults that was the worst of the worst. Um, I told y'all one sentence open up one other thing, and then one other thing open up another sentence, and it be stuff that I don't be trying to talk about right now, but it's just things that pop up in my head. And I'm really not trying to scare anybody, because I know that there are situations where you don't have a choice. You have to go and make a living, and you have to do this and that. Um, and sometimes you have to do what you got to do. Um, I just don't want another kid to have to feel any of what I had. When I was a little kid, I wanted to sleep over to somebody's house, but when I got to an age where I felt like I should have been able to have sleepovers and stuff, I was too busy raising everybody else's kids. Even by then had started having my own. Hey, Bench Thinker, how you doing? Thank you for coming in and joining us tonight. Um, I wanted to go and have sleepovers and everything, but I always had to watch the kids. I always had to do this and I always had to do that. So when I had kids and everything, I always dreamed of, because that's what you watch on TV and everything. Oh, I'm going to let my kids do sleepovers, and I'm going to let my kids do this, this, and this. And when the opportunity presented itself, my husband was like, no, they're not going to stay the night over that person's house, that person's house, and that person's house. And I even said before on here that one time, like I got angry. I wouldn't even say angry, because that's a strange word. I got mad at him because he just kept saying no to everybody who whose house they can sleep over. So in some ways, like, I wanted to come up against my husband and give pushback, and I didn't really give pushback, but it made me have an attitude, because I felt like I missed out on those things, because at this time I'm not really thinking about. At this time, I done pushed all the stuff that happened to me in the back of my mind, and I'm no longer thinking about that. I'm thinking about, I want my kids to grow up and be happy little kids and be able to have sleepovers and everything. And so I was thinking that just because he knew these people or they was family and stuff like that, is like, okay, then they should be able. I think they'll be okay or whatever. And I cannot even tell you. I won't even tell you the number of people who I considered allowing my kids to sleep over. I can name, but I will not name. If I can tell you, out of 3 of those houses that I was considering allowing my kids to sleep over, there was something major that broke out in those places. So I'm telling you, if you do not have to, do not trust people with your kids. Again, I'm saying, I know some people don't have a choice because you have to make a living for your family. But I beg you, I can tell you 1,000 stories that will make you change your mind. Won't nobody take care of and look out for your kids the way that you will look out for them. I can't tell you how many problems it causes. With these children. Yes, Silky Black, family can be the worst. And I'll even say this. For a long time, I felt crazy around my family because I'm trying to express all of the stuff that happened to me. And everybody's looking at me like I'm a foreigner. I feel like I'm on a limb by myself. And I've been telling this and telling this for years and years now, little bit at a time, because my family is who I use eventually to start to open up my mouth and talk. And as I started to do that, I would just get like these blank stares or whatever, and or somebody just feel some sympathy for you, but nobody was saying anything. And boy, for a minute, I felt like I was just plumb crazy. But after a while that I kept on talking, and I guess God wanted me to be in that place because he was showing me at that time, you don't need nobody to agree with anything you saying. Just tell the truth and leave it there. I went for years being on that limb by myself. I even told y'all a story that one time was telling my auntie about some of the stuff that had happened to me, and I was looking for her to give me confirmation to be able to free myself, and she didn't say a word. She didn't say, go ahead and tell your story, don't worry about them people. No, none of that. And as soon as I got to a place where I don't care whether any of these people agree with me or not, the secrets that began to fall out of those closet doors was like they was pressing up against the door. As soon as you twist the doorknob, it just popped open and all the secrets fell out the closet. Silky Black, you ain't the only one. You are not the only one. They are our community is raging with it, and everybody's so quiet about it. And you know what? Somebody in here is supposed to be saying something in front of their family, but you feel like I ain't supposed to say it. Whenever you say it, I guarantee you, they may not say nothing right then, but it's gonna be something that gonna start a firestorm, and you gonna find out it's about 20 people sitting around you got the same issue that you got, that you scared to speak on. And I'm gonna say that, and I'm gonna leave it right there. You ain't gotta believe me, and nobody ain't gotta speak up. But I'm telling you, I can feel it. Yes, the adults. I found out in my late 20s that I was my best friend's protection from her mom. Man. Mm-mm-mm. Hey, Callie, how you doing tonight? Oh my gosh. I and don't that's the worst of the worst, because when you in that situation right there, I'm talking about you being your friend's protection. Because at that time it puts you in a situation, especially when if you're younger. I remember being in situations. Um, I'll tell you, I don't want to, like, I had a best friend. When my mama finally did let me have a sleepover one night, I was in the bed sleeping, and I hadn't realized that she was missing out of the bed. And the next thing I knew, I was awoken by her standing to her room window, whispering my name. And when I finally rolled over and looked at the window, she was saying, Tashana, come open the door. And you can tell the way she whispering that she wasn't supposed to be out of the house. So I'm like, oh my gosh. When I go to open the door, she is being held hostage by a boy that she dating that was quite a bit older than she was. And he had done did everything under the sun to her. Okay, Silky Black. I'll check it out. Um, I was in turmoil because I'm in a situation that I'm ready to fight this boy. And she is begging me, don't, don't do anything. I ain't never been in this type of situation before, but I want to defend my friend. So right now, my friend is begging me to not do anything. Just be quiet. He gonna be all right. He gonna go away. Just sit still with it. Now, I eventually stayed quiet with my friend, and he eventually did go away. And the thought was all morning while the sun was coming up, what are we going to tell your parents? And she was like, don't worry about it. She's like, I'm going to tell them. And I didn't believe her at all because of how quiet she was asking me to be and to not say anything. But she had full confidence that she can slow him down or whatever. But I'm telling you, he had a grip on her. And I don't even remember, did he have a weapon or anything? Because for whatever reason, he had her under control and he had a grip on like the back of her pants and her shirt. And she was all scraped up and everything. But I do remember the next morning, as the sun rose up, because I guess this had to be like 3 o'clock in the morning or something. Because the next morning, as her parents and stuff began to get up, you can hear like the chaos in the house of them wanting to find him and you know straighten some things out with us. So I didn't have full faith that she was going to go and talk to her parents because I don't know anything about that. I didn't come up inside of a house where we have conversations and things like that with about stuff like that. I growed up keeping that type of stuff a secret. So there it is, a lesson learned from having a sleepover. Um, I've been called a helicopter mom, an airplane mom, whatever the hell you want to call it. I'll be all of that and a bag of chips because today, I'm telling you, I wouldn't wish the story that I have or the stories that I talk about where situations with my mom, I wouldn't want one of my kids to have the story that I have. And no, my mom was not the worst mom in the world. She was the mom that I had. She taught me a whole lot, but she made a lot of mistakes. A lot. And I'm not mad with her or any of that stuff about the mistakes she had. And I'll tell you why I'm not mad at her. Because I know that if the things that happen to me happen, I can just about imagine what happened to my mama. I was that type of mama too, only to have the devil lip. Ooh, Jesus Christ. Ooh, Callie. That was the first situation. That's how it first happened to me. The devil was living inside of our house. That was my first situation. That's another thing too. You you want to help, you want to be able to help others out. Letting people come and live with you and you don't know who you're inviting into your home. They put on a good front, they put on good words, but um TSM, thank you for coming through. I appreciate it. You almost scared me, which was like, when I looked, I say I don't agree, and I was like, oh Lord. I was like, debate time. No, I'm just joking. I allow people. This is a safe chat. You able to ask whatever questions you want to, and you free to have your opinion, but just be up for debate. But I see now, I don't agree. I don't agree with sleepovers. I was by my uncles and cousins and their girlfriends. Jesus Christ. It's I can tell it, I'm not excited about this, but I am excited because you do not get men that are willing to have this conversation. Um and I can't imagine the process that got you to the place to be able to be free and be able to say to someone that this is what happened to me. Mine was I'm just now releasing what has been about 6 months ago right here on YouTube. It's the first time I'm coming out and just like saying it. I started with my family, like, it's little baby steps at first, but um to get to this place where I am, where it's just like I don't care who hears me say it or whatever, and whoever feel about it, whatever they feel about it, say something. I dare you to. So, but I am honored to be able to, um, I know I don't even know the right words to say to that, but I appreciate you for, maybe one day we can have a good old conversation about, about it, Um, my parents always, he wasn't right and said no to us going places a lot. Yeah, but if it wasn't for my husband, I can't even imagine the mistakes that I would have made because of my feelings, how I felt about something. I can see it, and I was just like it. Even though we didn't allow it to happen, just to know that I was even thinking about allowing it to happen is scary all in its own, even though it didn't happen. Let my husband's daughter come live with us after being abused, only to have him abuse my 4 then turned 5-year-old. Jesus Christ. Ooh, Callie, I'm gonna be praying for you because the weight of carrying that I never said me and my mom never ever had a conversation about this, period. All of this stuff that happened to me, it was like she knew it was happening to me, but it would be too much of a weight for her to hear me say anything about it. I mean, even when I first got pregnant, she didn't ask me any questions or any of that stuff. She didn't ask me anything. I was 13 years old and not even one question. The question was who is it? Yeah. Now she just turned 19 and she's still traumatized. It honestly. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I can only imagine, like, because and I say that because I can hear myself when I talk and say the things that happened to me and the way my mom responded to those things. If one of my kids was saying that, I don't know. I don't know if I ever be like to, and I know I won't say that I won't ever be able to get right from that, because I do know there's a lot of situations that I done been through, and I'm telling you, had it not been for God, I definitely wouldn't have made it through any of them. So I know that it is all possible to get through it. And the first thing we all have to come to is, if I know there's no way I would have allowed that to happen, but things happen, and you just go can't go back from it. So I sit around and wonder sometimes, do would my kids tell me everything? Um, if it ever happened to any of them. It's just, and it's not that I haven't asked. I told you, we'll sit down and have a family meeting in a heartbeat. But even though you having those conversations and stuff all the time, kids still won't tell you, um, that things happen. So, and you just don't know these days. These people are very crafty. It ain't a man or either a woman. It is the devil himself, whichever form they decide to come in. Um, you just don't know what they saying to them to keep them in that place. So I don't even like people to give my kids money. All of anything that's connected to anything like that. We don't do none of that. My kids aren't allowed to get money from anybody. I got into an argument with a lady one time in the store, and I wasn't rude to her, but as soon as I had my baby in the basket, and you turn to the side to get something from the produce section. Um, oh man, now here I'm getting sidetracked because I'm up in here I'm up in here in this chat. I get over here in the chat and I start running my mouth on a whole nother thing. So somebody remind me where I was, because I'm about to get lost over here in the chat. Um, TSM just said, I just recently came out about it last year. Well, then maybe we did it round about the same time on here. Um, yeah, I just last year. I'm saying probably about 6 months ago, maybe. I don't even know. I can't even think about the video that I came on here doing with the. And I only even like to say that this is just my opinion. The tears and everything. It was, yeah, I can't even go back and look at it myself, but I put it there, and I am asking for the strength to be able to go back and watch it so that it lose power in my life every time that I go be able to go back and look at it. His daughter is in the Navy now, living her best life like she never did. Ooh, man, oh man, oh man. Kelly, I can feel that right there, because that gives me the same feeling of the man that did it to me came to my mama's house and gave me that hug, and I can feel, you know how somebody give you a hug, and when you give them a hug, when you giving a good hug, or when you giving one of them fake ones where you just kind of tap somebody on the shoulder like you don't really want to give them. He gave me a hug, and I knew, and I reciprocated the hug, because at this time I was just in my 20s, and I didn't know how to respond to this person who actually kidnapped me and brought me back home. How am I supposed to respond when my body has been taught to respond this way? Just be nice to everybody. And so when he reached out to give me the hug, we did the hug, but at the time I was taking the brunt of it because I went home and I beat myself up about it. But as I think about it today, and I'm about to give you something, Callie, because see, as the person that it happens to, you look at the person who did that to you and you think that they have some sort of power over you, and it's actually the other way around. Because said person know exactly what they did. And when you stand in front of me, to this day, I can feel the energy from that hug that he gave me. And it was just the way that I viewed it at the time. I thought, you let him do it to you one more time. But then as I go back and think about it with my adult eyes and seeing him, he was shaking in his boots because he didn't know whether I was going to come out a bag on him or whatever because of all that happened. So, Callie, just because it looked like she think and you think that's what she doing, ain't no peace there. You do something like that, there's no walking away and just being at peace with it. I'm telling you, I could feel his energy. He knew he had done something wrong to me and he ain't able to shake it. Do you know when you got somebody's innocence on your hands, ain't no peace in that. None. I called the law and had her removed. The day we come, when my daughter confronts her, my husband is in the worst place. They're both still his kids. His daughter was, whew. Yeah, Callie, I can see. Kids push that abuse on other kids. No sleepovers. You never know where other kids have been. Absolutely. And that is exactly what I'm talking about. So in this conversation, and I tried not to go too deep, but that's what we over here conversating about tonight, and this is where it fell at. Again, I'm not trying to cause no fear upon anybody. I'm just asking you to pay attention. And if it's possible, don't let other people have access to your kids in that way. And if you have to, make sure you do your homework and you ask your kids questions. And so on to another thing. I don't know how many people that this storm that's coming across is going to affect. I see this storm is very, very big. And here we are getting after school things canceled and everything. And here the wind is blowing really hard and everything. And my husband is like the weatherman over here, and he seems to think that this storm is going to spin off some tornadoes. And he pretty good at what he do. When he tell us about the weather over here, I mean, I don't know where he went. He went to the weather school through TV or whatever, but he can call it pretty good when he do what he do. So with that being said, everybody that's in the in the path of these storms that's getting ready to come through. Um, I hope you're prepared for whatever's to come. You got your some water and your candles and all of that good stuff standing by. And most of all, I hope your yeah, the wind is blowing. And Callie, I'm here in Florida, and we feel it. It is the wind is blowing heavy here already. So you know, me myself, I try not to stress too much about things that I can't do nothing about, and the weather is one of the things that I can't do nothing about. And this ain't one of those storms like you can get up and you can go anywhere to avoid it, because it's like this thing is sweeping across everything in the way. I didn't see a place where the storm was not coming across. So you know, say your prayers, and may God protect you all tonight, and we can all check back in tomorrow sometime and know that everybody made it through. Just got some good little rain or whatever it may be in your neck of the woods, because even he was looking at some other states and stuff and was saying that the snow was gonna, you know, be heavy in some places and everything. But um I just pray everybody safety in this storm, and safety inside your homes. And Kelly, there's some people that'll be around you. Use your story to make other people aware of the things that they go on, and that's how you can keep pushing through your situations and everything. Cause Lord, that's some heavy that's some heavy thing. And again, I'd like to thank you so much for coming through and dropping a few lines in the chat tonight, TSM. I appreciate you all for coming through, spending some time with your girl, because you can be anywhere else spending your time. And again, over here, we are called the High Class Gardeners. Why? Because we grow food over here. I don't care what it is. If we only got sweet potatoes in the ground growing over here. If something happened tomorrow, we got some food we can go pluck up out of the ground. Grow you something, because hard times are definitely coming again. These food shortages coming around again. They got the blockage out there on the Red Sea and everything that's holding up all of that stuff out there. So eventually the shortages are going to end up showing up. These different storms and stuff coming. Prepare yourself, make something, stock up on you some stuff, whatever it is that you got to get yourself ready. But again, I was saying that we the high class gardeners over here, we grow something in the backyard, something around here. But we don't play with no worms and no bugs, and we don't spray that funny stuff on our food over here. So if you ain't growing something, grow you something, do something, because you're gonna need it. We're out of school here, and I'm in Georgia, just drizzling here now, but 1 a.m. is supposed to be crazy. Ooh, sis. We are already sent up the prayers and everything already, but the wind is blowing here in Orlando already. So you're feeling a good old breeze. I can hear the wind blowing while I'm here on the inside. You got greens and peppers over here. I got some greens over here. All of my pepper plants just look like they just went to glory. They done and over with. So I done already planted some more or whatever to see what they gonna go ahead and do. But yeah, we got strawberries. What else we got going on? We ain't got no strawberries on the thing right now. Anyways, when the strawberries come on there on the vine, my kids, they be waiting on it to come turn the right color if the squirrels don't run out there and try and get them before they get it. But as soon as it turned the right color, sometimes they eat it when it's still white most of the way and a little bit of red on them. But no fruit don't stay on there long for nothing in the world. But hey, we got some cherries, some onions. We got the onions over here. But yeah, y'all grow something. Grow you some food or something. I don't care. Get you some potatoes and throw them in the ground and create some more potatoes. You'll be excited just to know you grew your own stuff. And besides, it tastes better than anything that you can get from out of the store. So prepare yourself. Don't be afraid. And sometimes it don't work. Um, and some things do. And Callie just said my strawberries didn't work. Listen, you know what I did, Kelly? I got me some strawberries from Publix. I don't know if y'all got Publix there, but we got Publix here. I took them strawberries and peeled them like an orange and laid the peeling on a napkin and just let it sit there and dry off. And when it dried, I just took it and I got the cocoa core. I got the cocoa core. Spiritual say hers never work either. I'm gonna tell y'all how I did mine. I got the cocoa core, where you can break it off and then it grows into that. Once it get wet, it sponges up and go big. I rub the seeds off of there because once it, dry onto the thing, you can just roll the seeds off into it. I put it into that, put water, left it moist a little bit. I did not put anything on top of the strawberry seeds. I just dropped them on top of that cocoa core. And I took a piece of saran wrap and I wrapped the bowl, the top of it, so that sun can get in it. And I set it on the rail outside. And after a while, I went out there and I started to see like little green show in there. You can barely see it, but you have to pay attention. When you see that, then you take a toothpick and start poking little holes in there so they can start getting the air and don't kill them off. It took me a time before I, mastered it. But poke some little holes in the top of it and just let them grow. And then after a while, I started like round the edges of it. I would put go and get like a little scoop of dirt out of the chicken pen or whatever and put it around the sides, because then that's feeding it that's just like nitrogen or whatever. Strawberries love nitrogen. Love it. Chicken poop is a great source of that. So I got a never ending source of it because I got about 30, 60 chickens over here. So so I feed them that, and now I have I don't know. I probably can say I probably got a good 25 strawberry plants just from that one that I started. And I got one good one to grow out of it. And then it just keeps creating more and more and more and more strawberry plants. So now I got a whole bunch of them. If I had enough of them, I wouldn't mind putting you one in a Ziploc bag and sending it over there to you. But maybe try it that way and see what you can get out of it. Both of y'all, and don't give up because it don't work the first time. Because let me tell you something, that was about the third time I had did the strawberry thing. The third time was the charm. So don't give up. But you all, that's my time for tonight. I thank you all for spending it with me. Each one of us teach one of us. So the only way we gonna start to win any of this battle on any of this crazy stuff that's going on with these kids and everything is we gotta be willing to talk about it and spread the word so other people have awareness of what they're doing, so this does not have to continue to be more kids' stories. Good night to you, Elizabeth, too. Thank you for being here again. I am Tashana over here at Life with Tashana. And I thank you all for spending your time with me. Y'all have a good night. Thank you again.